You can't learn for the future if you don't remember your past. So you really need to sit there and think about how our actions in the past can play out and how we can change our future to make it a better one. Since I was young, I was always interested in history, and we have to share their stories. We have to remember their stories and keep that history alive. Okay, my name's Richard Bennett. I am the Vehicle Section Director at the Ontario Regiment Museum. Since I was young, I was always interested in history. Well, I had a couple of good teachers when I went through the school system, and they really impressed. These guys were older veterans. Some were teachers. Some had taken part in battles. I did have various family members that were in the war, in World War II. On my mother's side for Germany, on my father's side, my grandmother was at a munitions factory. My wife's grandfather actually serves as a machine gunner in the Canadian Forces. So all these points of influence kind of add up. You know, like the history is one thing, the operational portion of the vehicles is another. You're growing up, we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have computer games, we had cars. So we worked on the cars, and it was only natural to come into an organization where they were looking for mechanics. About 28 years ago, I used to work with an operator in the field who just so happened to be serving as a reserve member in the Canadian Forces, and he was the maintenance manager for the Ontario Regiment. He knew about the museum across the road and knew that they were looking for mechanics and people to assist in maintaining the vehicles, so came out for a visit and just never left. Part of this museum's doctrine is to try and educate people on the history of the Canadian Forces. In terms of how we experience history at the museum, we have a lot of operational vehicles here. Everything from World War II vehicles to very modern vehicles, a lot of tanks, a lot of carriers, wheeled vehicles, jeeps, trucks, basically the whole entourage. And nothing really sounds like a tank going down our arena. The ground vibrates, you get the engine sounds coming past you, you get the smell of diesel and exhaust and the fumes that come off a normal military vehicle operating. It's quite the experience, and it's something that I really enjoy sharing with people when they do come here. And it carries a lot when people can see an operational military museum versus a static military museum. I have a twin brother. He came in about a year or so after me. We live in different cities, so it's a little bit more difficult for him to get up here on a continuing basis. He's like my right-hand man when I need him to be, especially on big vehicle shows. If I have a problem, he's more of a point-and-shoot guy. He says, here, I need you to take care of this, and I got to take care of something else. We've got a lot of favorite stories up here. You have to remember that we're a team, we're like a family. We've done several military events. One of the favorites that we had happened about 3 years ago. It was called the Convoy to Remembrance. It was, at that time, the largest contingent of military vehicles on parade in Canada for quite some time. And we had everything from trucks to jeeps, tanks, wheeled vehicles, all our stuff essentially went out the building. If it could run, it was going. When we do these parades, you get a really strong sense of pride. You're out there representing what these veterans fought for and representing the veterans that can't be there. You know, it's always part of our history to remember what's happened and how we can do our part so that people don't forget. A parade is one thing. It is a very visual effect of demonstration of how you can show people what the forces went through. And when we get the veterans riding in their vehicles with us, you can see how proud they are to have served and how proud they are to continue to be able to get into the vehicle and be on parade. They may not be able to march anymore, but we can put them into a vehicle and put them right through the parade without any problems. We have a number of vehicles that can support that, and it gives them that opportunity to have that sense of pride and feeling again. I've always been interested in faster things. I've got a muscle car at home that I've had a lot of dealings with and a lot of fun over the years. So, you know, when you start relating it to a 48-ton vehicle, you don't think of high performance. But when you can take a Leopard tank through a muddy field and slip it sideways because it's losing traction and still maintain control, it's a lot of fun. I always told them, it took them 23 years to get a tank that I really like. But this one I really like because it's just everything that's there, the drivability, the control, it's so much advanced over some of the older stuff that uses tiller bars. This one uses a cross-drive transmission with a yoke, and it's just a completely different driving experience. Well, we heard about World of Tanks quite a bit before the pandemic, actually, but the pandemic really set everything in motion. One of our individuals, who's also a World of Tank member, who goes by the name Cranky Monkey, he got a whole bunch of us together and said, hey, we should all play World of Tanks as a clan. You know, we've got time to do it, why don't we try this? And it's like, at that point in time, I hadn't really considered it too much because we just had so much work to do. And then now all of a sudden you got this free time. So it's like, now let's try and get in the World of Tanks. And getting on Discord, and we could all get together as a clan, and we could have a lot of fun over it, a lot of laughs. You know, when you're locked up in a house and technically not able to go out and visit people and do the stuff that you're used to doing, it made it a lot easier, somewhat more palatable, shall we say. You look at people our age, I'm 53, you wouldn't think about playing computer games to meet socially and try and get that social component in your life, but you look at our kids have been doing it for 20 years. They knew about this a long time ago, and you know, I'm going up into my room to play the computer. I'll see you tomorrow. So now my evenings are getting on World of Tanks with Discord, and my wife likes to watch her shows, and I get a couple hours to do what I want to do, and then we catch up afterwards. Free time. I'm honored to be selected as one of the Supertankers for World of Tanks, specifically working for my clan, GTO. We can use that one as you will, but no, I'm honored to be selected as one of the Supertankers for World of Tanks.